If you struggle in saying no or are stuck in that nice person persona, then this video is especially for you. I was in your shoes not too long ago. I overcame this behavior by learning to set healthy boundaries with journaling, and in this video, I'll share the same. Hi everyone, I am Kiran. Welcome to my channel where I talk about mindfulness, emotional resilience, and spirituality. I recently made a video on how to set healthy boundaries, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. In case you haven't watched that video, then briefly, I share about my experience with a business coach, wherein I joined his online business coaching program. And after 2 months, he insisted I joined his WhatsApp group. Now, we went back and forth on emails where I shared I didn't want to join the group, and he insisting and coming up with a new reason why I must join. Finally, when I put my foot down and said, "Sorry, I can't join your group," he responded saying that my emails are now going to get lost in piles of emails he gets every single day. Now, when this incident happened, I was angry. At that time, I couldn't see that this person wasn't respecting my boundaries. At that time, the only thing that I could think about is that why doesn't this person get a no is a no? Like, how hard can it be, right? And so, this video is about how I went from being angry to being neutral about this whole situation. And then, most importantly, from that place of neutrality, how I learned to set boundaries. Now, when it comes to emotional clearing, I am no expert. I am learning new things every single day. But if there was one tool that I consider as the holy grail of emotional clearing, it has to be journaling. Now, like I shared with you, when this incident happened, I was angry. But if there's one thing that I have learned is that when you're this angry, you need to let the storm pass by. Because, when your emotions are heightened, you are now swinging in polarities: good, bad, right, wrong, left, right. You're not calm and neutral. And so, when emotions are this heightened, you will always be reacting to situations rather than responding to them. I remember writing in my journal, and the only thing that I could even muster to write on day one was, "I am angry, I am pissed, I don't understand why people don't get that a no is a no." Now, the other thing I did when my emotions were this heightened was self care. When your emotions are all over the place, that's not the best time to sort them. That's the time of self care. And on a side note, I recently did a video on self care, and I'll also put a link to that in the description below. Now, once I felt a tad bit emotionally calm about the situation, I was like, okay, this is what just happened. And I had an extreme reaction to it. So that means something did not sit right with my inner self. And so next, I wrote in my journal, this incident makes me feel dash. Like this question, this incident, this situation makes me feel dot dot dot. It's like the holy grail for sorting out your emotions and your thoughts. Because the answer to this question will reveal where you are in your thinking process, your thought process, and what actions, what steps you need to take. So think of your journal as a first place to ground you. So at a mental level, you can say, these are the thoughts that are running in my head. At an emotional level, I feel this. And then you want to consider writing, what I want to say to this person is fill in the blanks. Now, the gift of doing this exercise is that it diffuses that initial charge we have towards a situation. And you might need to come back to this exercise a few times depending on the situation. But if you sincerely answer these questions, you will reach the end goal of emotional clearing, which is neutrality, where your emotions are not going from one end to another, they are calm and centered. Now, the other thing I will point out is that, when your boundaries are not respected, like you are the first person that will know that a line has been crossed. Because oftentimes, what is okay for you may not be okay for another person, and vice versa. As in, what you might consider as a violation of your boundaries may mean nothing to another person, depending upon, of course, your upbringing, your experiences, and in general, how life has unfolded for you. And so, there is no white or black way to establish boundaries. Like, there is no cookie cutter formula that I could give you that you could apply and then set boundaries. Your feelings are the best ally when it comes to this, because your feelings will tell you if your boundaries have been violated or not. So, going back to the example I shared with you, initially when this incident happened, I was angry, pissed, frustrated. I mean, I was all over the place emotionally. But once I felt a tad bit more calm, I did this exercise. Like, I remember writing in my journal, my thoughts are going on the lines of, why is this person insisting I join his group? Further, there was no conversation about joining his WhatsApp group when I first joined his coaching program. So why now? Why is it so hard for him to get that a no is a no? I am a paid client. Why should my email get lost in a pile of emails? Like, that makes no sense. Once I wrote down these thoughts, I said to myself, okay, all my reasons seem valid. I'm not overreacting to the situation. This is legit. Next, at an emotional level, I wrote, this incident makes me feel angry and pissed. I feel this person is not respectful. I feel frustrated. I feel like being shoved into a corner. Now, when you can sort out your emotions and your thought patterns, it gives you a lot of clarity, and which is why journaling is such an excellent tool to get there. Now, once I saw where I was mentally and emotionally, next I asked myself, if I were to write an email to this person, what would I write? And I remember as I wrote that email, my words had an undertone of anger in them. So I knew I had to let things be and revisit this exercise the following day. So the next day, again, I wrote an email, but my email again had an undertone of anger. But overall, I felt a lot more neutral about the situation. And that day I remember writing in my journal that finding my voice, especially as an Indian woman, has been quite a long journey for me. And if joining his WhatsApp group is an absolute must, then his coaching program is not for me, even if that means I will lose hundreds of dollars I have invested in this program. And once I was clear in my mind where I stood about this entire situation, I was able to let it go. Now, by day 4, I was completely neutral about this incident. When I wrote an email, my words had no undertone of anger or frustration or any of those negative emotions, and hence I knew I was responding to what had happened and not reacting to it. Now, the reason I'm sharing this process is because, I was one of those people who really struggled in setting boundaries. And this exercise has been a lifesaver of sorts. When someone or something pushes your buttons, you don't go saying, oh, my boundaries have been violated, because everything happens so quickly. Now your thoughts all over the place. Your emotions are all over the place. They are going from one extreme to another. And so journaling is the perfect place to reflect, to ponder, to contemplate. Because once you are clear about the situation in your head, then you can calmly ask another person, hey, why did you say that? Rather than saying, hey, how dare you say something like this? As I was writing content for this video, it dawned on me that perhaps the greatest blessing of this process, this exercise, is that it helps you in developing confidence in saying no. Like, for the longest time, I couldn't say no to people. I know it sounds absurd, but I kid you not when I say I struggled a lot. But when I could do this exercise and I could say no on paper, it became a lot more easier to say no in person. Because now a part of your brain understands why you are saying no. That you're not just randomly reacting to something, that you have very legitimate reasons for saying no. Another profound blessing of this process, this exercise, is that it helps you in developing neutrality. Like, I was one of those people who used to feel things very deeply. Say an average person feels 5 on 10 on an emotional scale. I was more like 20 on 10. And so to come to a point of neutrality was really hard for me. But once I started journaling, once I started sorting out how I felt emotionally, where I was at a mental level, then things became a lot more simple. And now over to you. Have you used journaling to establish healthy boundaries? And if so, what has been your greatest takeaway? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to learn from you. I hope these suggestions were helpful. As always, please only take what resonates, discard the rest. Thank you so much for your time today. I will see you next Tuesday with a new video. And until then, have a beautiful rest of the week.